What we're really doing is we're inviting people into descriptions using our questions as invitations. So we use our questions as invitations into given topics amongst the communication. And the wonderful thing is, because they're questions, questions lead to thinking. So these are questions that don't even need to be answered out loud. I had a teenager teach me how important this was. In Texas, I'm sure you guys know, high school football is a really big deal. I don't know if it's a big deal here, but in Texas, it's a really big deal. Football is such a big deal in this area. This school is such a big deal. The stadium they play in is a $60 million stadium. And this kid, he's a sophomore on the team, and he's one of the better players on the team. He's really, really good. And his dad had recently caught him sneaking out of his bedroom window, going down the street and having sex and smoking marijuana with his girlfriend. And it freaked the dad out. The dad was afraid he was A, going to develop an addiction, B, get kicked off the football team, or C, get this girl pregnant. So he calls me and says, would you be happy to visit with my kid? And the only thing I enjoy even close to doing couples therapy is working with adolescents. I just love them. Anybody here work with adolescents? I absolutely adore them. So I said, sure, I'd love to see your kiddo. And the dad and son come to my office, and the kid looked so irritated to be in my office. The kid looked so frustrated. So I go out in the lobby, and I said, come on back. And only the dad gets up, and the dad says, can I talk to you first? I said, sure. And the dad spends about 20 minutes telling me about all the deviant behaviors the child is engaged in. And I say, okay, no problem. I'm looking forward to meeting him. I'm like the arrogant therapist, right? I've been working with adolescents for years. I'm going to enjoy this kid. And the last thing the dad said on his way out back to the lobby, he said, how do you handle it when kids don't talk? And I thought, oh, I'll be able to get them to talk. And I told the dad, like, I'll do my best. I'll do my best. I'll be able to get him to talk. We go get the kid. He comes back. Doesn't say a word to me. He sat down in the seat. And I said, so, what are your best hopes from our talking? Nothing. I said, man, you don't look like you're happy to be here. Since you're here, and I'm sure you don't want to waste your time, what do we need to do so you'd find this useful? Nothing. I said, you must be pretty frustrated your dad makes you come talk to people like me. What would your dad need to see changing in your life to cause him to know he doesn't need to take you to see people like me? Nothing. I asked him every question I could think of for about 20 minutes, and the boy says nothing. At the end of our talk, I said to him, what question should I have asked you that you might have answered? Nothing. I said, well, since I'm out of thoughts and you're not going to teach me, I guess our time is done. And the kid quietly stood up and he walked out into the lobby. I get to Dad and I said, your kid's real strong. He didn't say a word. In fact, I can't even tell you what his voice sounds like. I have no idea. And the dad said, yeah, he told me he wasn't going to talk to you. But put him on your schedule for next week. Okay. Put him on your schedule for next week. So this time I think, okay, be smarter, Elliott. Get the kid, nice and loose first, like a mayonnaise jar, right? You got to get it loose, and then you can open it up. So I said to him, hey, did you watch the football game this weekend? First time I heard his voice. He said, college or NFL? I said, NFL. He said, yeah, I watched the Cowboys. They stink and blah, blah, blah. I said, hey, man, what are your best hopes from talking to me? Nothing. I said, I've heard you're really good at football. If sometime in the future you were doing really well in football and you look back on our conversation as helpful, how would you like to describe them? Nothing. I go and get to Dad and I said, I did a little better this time. I heard his voice. He was willing to talk to me about some stuff. But he wouldn't answer any of my therapy questions. And the dad said, yeah, he said he didn't want to talk to you today either, but I don't care. Put him on your schedule for next week. I thought, I put him on my schedule for the following week. Kiddo comes in and I think, okay, so now that I know he'll talk to me about other stuff, he was a very respectful kid, believe it or not, I'm going to ask him about more sensitive stuff. I said, hey, your dad told me you have a girlfriend. What's her name? He said, Laura. I said, oh, tell me about Laura. He said, oh, man, Laura's the senior captain on the cheerleading team, and she's the most popular girl in school, and when she got a crush on me, everybody in the school loves me now, and like all my sophomore friends think I'm awesome and all these things. What do you guys do for fun? Oh, we do all this. He didn't say sex or drugs. We hang out, and we watch TV, we watch movies. I said, does Laura know that you got to come do this lame thing? Yeah, she thinks it's stupid, too. What would Laura need to notice about you that would tell her your life is changing in all the most positive ways? Nothing. Every single time I tried to turn the conversation into therapy, I ran into the brick wall that is, I'll call him Jeremy, the brick wall that Jeremy built. So I said, Dad, I don't think I'm helping him. I don't think I'm doing anything except wasting your time and your money, wasting his time and making myself nice and frustrated. So Dad said, can we see you again next week? I said, I just don't want to. I don't think I'm being helpful to him. And the dad said, well, the behaviors that caused me to want to call you the past few weeks haven't happened. So I said, how about we take a break, and if the behaviors come back, I'll try again. And the dad said, sure. I don't hear from Jeremy for 3 years. Jeremy goes away for 3 years. I get an email one Thanksgiving that says, I'll be home for Christmas break. Can I see you while I'm home? And I say, sure, no problem. Now, I knew Jeremy was a college football player because I saw him on TV once or twice. So I walk into my lobby one day during the Christmas break, and there is the biggest human being I've ever seen. Jeremy is now 20, and he's got muscles on top of muscles on top of muscles. His neck looks like a thigh. This kid is huge. For those of you who know about football, he plays linebacker, so he's built like a car. And I say, you ready? Come on in. Jeremy, he's carrying a notebook. And you guys have seen these notebooks, the black and white steno pads that got like the cow pattern on them. This notebook, it looks like it's been in 1,000 backpacks and 1,000 back pockets. It's got graffiti on it. It's dirty. It's crinkled. It's wrinkled. He sits down. He places the notebook next to him, and he says, before you say anything, I need to apologize to you. And I said, for what? And he said, several years ago when my dad brought me here, I was really rude and disrespectful, and I shouldn't have been, and I'm sorry. And I thought, holy cow, this is a 19, 20-year-old kid, by the way. I said, oh my God, what an insightful kid. When did you have that realization? And I thought he'd say, like last week. I actually thought that's why he was coming. But he said, a month after we stopped seeing you. And that's when I started answering your awesome questions. And he picked up his notebook, and that notebook was his journal based on the questions I had asked him 3 years before. And he said those questions were so helpful. I realized that girl wasn't really good for me. And I realized certain things, and I answered all the questions, and I've been keeping a journal ever since, and I just want to say thank you. That was really helpful. And I'm so touched by what Jeremy had just said. I actually thought that's why he was there for therapy.